and once. All right. That's there. I'm live there. See you guys later. Bye. Bye. I can't figure out how to shut it off. Too funny. Sorry, you guys. I know you're all kind of tuning in. I just hit the wrong button. There we go. It's live, people. It's live. Bye. All right. Now we're here. And as people are waiting, I'm just going to quickly check my stuff here. All right. Good stuff. There we go. Yay. So here we go. Jumped on over. Boo! There we go. Now you guys. Now here, let me. It's so funny. I sometimes say, let me just do this. I'm going to do it whether you let me or not. But I use that, I think, as a phrase to let you know that I'm doing something. You know, Laura and Judy, nice to see you. Oh, and that's crazy. It went from one person in the little how many people do you have to 10 people. This is great. Now, Judy Dukes and Laura Voorhees, I know you guys well as we can know anybody on the YouTubes or on the socials. But you both know that you can use this time. I hopped in. Yay, Jill. So using this time together, you guys know, say, I highly recommend you could do one of those things. Like, what would Destination Decluttered say? What would Beth say? Okay, yes, I had a feeling you might be still, Jill. Very cool. Good morning, Shannon and Louise. You know what I'm going to say if you ask a question, probably. You could probably start to be like, I know what Beth will say. She'll say, calm down and drink down and chunk down and write down. Narelle, nice to see you all the way from Australia. There we go. Judy Dukes is shopping in Amish country, but still likes to listen. Yay. Natalie came over from TikTok. Awesome. So this is pretty much what I will share with you. And many of you know, always learning something new or realizing how much it can be just the same thing, not over and over again. Okay. Here, let me just quiet down my phone. So I offer to every one of you, please, 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 as James Brown would say, use this time to make progress on your decluttering. Use this time, not just to learn it up here, but to move your body around in a decluttering manner. Because here's what you may realize. Up here, I know what to do. Yep, makes sense to me. Beth, oh yeah, I totally get what she's saying up here. But then when you go to put it into action, that's when you may realize you still have even a tiny little brick in the road could be enough to stop you from starting. Now, I say that to you because the sooner you just get in the habit of doing any decluttering, the sooner your house is going to be decluttered. And this is what the Destination Decluttered is to me, is something to aim for as you move through decluttering. And honestly, so that you live in a decluttered home. And when surface clutter or even, frankly, undealt with sentimental clutter comes up, you have been practicing being a more decluttered type person, that when that stuff comes up, it doesn't activate your nervous system. You know what to do. And it's not shake it like a Polaroid picture. You know what to do. And just think of, as we like to talk about, like the opposites and on one hand and on the other, and certain, thoughts in your head that create a feeling that make you do a thing. Let's examine the process of how simple these two thoughts can be, but how powerful they can be. I don't know can create a bit of fear. I don't know what to do, so I do nothing. I stop. Versus, I know what to do. I know what to do. Notice that. I know what to do. Yay. Somebody knows what the hell to do here. I am safe because I can figure this out. I have done this before. If I don't know what to do, one of the things I can do is find somebody to learn from. So notice one thought, the opposite thought. I don't know how to do it. Opposite equals I know what to do. I don't know what to do equals fear. I know what to do creates a sense of nervous system safety. If you're saying, I don't know what to do, and you're fearful, you may not do anything. You may not let go of something. You may not call somebody. You may not take an action with your hands. So head, heart, and hands can keep you stopped, but also the opposite. The opposite word in your head makes an opposite feeling in your heart, and the opposite action can happen in your hands, which is instead of being stuck, you're moving and doing something. So please, please, this is where you're really going to embody your learning. It's kind of like getting your driver's license. You could pass the written test, but life is not just a written test. Life is out there doing the thing. Labs Rock 07, nice to see you. And now I get it because I see the little 4 black paws. So I'm thinking you think of like the Labrador Retrievers. Awesome. So just to back up, especially because Labs Rock is fairly new here, and just in general, the real simple concept is getting yourself calmed down nervous system wise by making sure your body feels good, calming down, doing a lot of physical things to just readjust the energy, to dissipate that frozen, tight, paralyzed energy, loosen it up. You know, even when I was walking around today looking for my rings and I couldn't find them, I found myself literally doing this because I was getting all stressed out. And I was like, shh, it's okay. Nothing to be wrong. Nothing wrong here. And then when you feel safe, more safe and calmer, then you are more likely to get out of spinning your wheels, road trip metaphor ahead, slowing down the spin, getting into neutral. From neutral, you can shift and steer in any direction you want, but you always will start with the smallest gear. You don't immediately go from neutral to 5th gear. You start with gear 1, and then you go to gear 2, and you go to gear 3. You just have to get up and start moving. Yeah, and Lori, sometimes that is the hardest part of the entire process, is the getting out of the overcoming the inertia, is the standing up, is the moving of the body in the direction of the decluttering, is breaking that spell and literally putting your hand on a piece of clutter that you used to say, I don't know what to do with this, and then you do know what to do. So please use our time together, however long it is, to get yourself in action. Even if, like, I'm imagining somebody who's saying, well, I can't do that right now because, so I'm imagining Judy Dukes. Now she's learning stuff right now. She's not in her house. She's at like an Amish market, as my Boston accent via New Pennsylvania would say. You're in an Amish market. You can declutter by noticing what you want to bring into your house and what you leave there. Now, Lori is saying putting you on gets me going, and I don't mind being that kind of temporary spark to get you into gear. But what I want you to learn from me, because I will not always be here on the YouTubes, on the lives. I may even delete some of my videos at some point. Who knows? You practicing coaching yourself, saying the things. What are the things that I say? What is it about what I do here? Get curious. What is it about what I do here that helps you get going? I can think of a few things. And again, this is saying, how can I use these same concepts to motivate myself to get up and going, even if Destination Decluttered is not doing a TikTok live, a YouTube live, a Zoom party? What is it? And I will say this, I show up at a regular time. I show up and promise that I'm going to show up. So you say to yourself, could I show up for myself? Could I promise myself to get up and go by 11 a.m. and keep that promise? I keep my promise to you when I say I'm going to be here at 11 and I'm here at 11. What's the other thing I do? I notice when the fear and anxiety start to show up. And as soon as I realize they're there, I start doing the calming of the downing. I calm down, I slow down. I slow down the way I talk to you and I talk to myself. I quiet down that scared driver in the back seat. I write down some things. So notice what it is. I always like to reveal the process because then you can use it. Yeah. LO says, showing up for myself. What's that? Right? So notice much of decluttering. Yeah. That's what I'm holding for Judy. Yeah. Judy says, it has made a difference in my buying. So notice, Judy isn't even in her home to officially declutter what she has, but she's noticing how clutter got into her home, which was buying things and bringing them into her home. It has made a difference in my buying since listening to you for a year. I am realizing, I love that verb. I don't need things like I used to. And what I will offer this, Judy, even mess around with this sentence. I don't feel like I need things like I felt like I used to. I need that. I need that. Erin Collins. Nice to see you. I don't have my mug. This is my water. Nice to see you, Erin. I hope you're calming down, chunking down, writing down, drinking down, doing all the good things. And everybody here, no matter how rough of a sketch it is, sketch a calendar, sketch a schedule for today and this weekend that there's a little bit of decluttering and a whole lot of having fun. Okay? Rock on, Erin. Nice, always nice to see you. So notice Judy Dukes and I, we've never met in person, but through the TikTok lives and the YouTube lives and the declutter parties and the Zooms and all that and the emails, whatever, she is thinking differently, feeling differently, and her actions are different. Okay? Now, Julie is saying, I have the same issue. Me too. I need to stop buying. And what I want to say is, I'm not saying no, but I'm saying why. What don't you like? What does the buying give you that you don't like, that you want to stop that? And oftentimes stopping anything cold turkey and not having something to replace it with can feel overwhelming. Like, if I don't do that, what do I do? And the answer is, I don't know. Again, I don't know makes me fearful. So I'm going to be less likely to change what I do. This is my brain and my body coach kind of, and they pop up visions in my mind. So I will just share with you. This is the difference between clearing off the surfaces, kind of like just getting weeds and kind of cutting them down with your like lawnmower, versus digging things a little bit deeper and getting literally and metaphorically to the root of the cause. Why do I buy? Now, you can't stop buying everything, Julie, unless you are totally like growing your own food and making your own gas for your car and generating your own heat. There are some things that you still will need to buy. Notice the declarative, very blanket, black and white statements can be an indication of where there's some change, but let's get a little bit more curious about that. Is there a category of things that's a little bit more specific? And again, notice what I'm doing. I'm going from the big and general and stopping to the opposite. The small, the more specific, the starting. Yeah. There we go. So notice, Julie, notice depending upon what category of stuff that you're buying things with, what could you do? And like, why? Why? What is it not giving you? Now, I will share with you, because Jill is offering, maybe instead of buying, put that money in a savings account piggy bank and earmark that for a special useful gift for yourself. Even if it's not a useful gift, how about just a special gift? All right. Now, notice where we see people shopping. Labs Rock is saying, my mom has been a shopping addict her whole life. I love her, of course, but my buying issues were passed down. Yes, Many of us learned from the people we were raised how to shop, how to not shop, how to declutter, how to not be able to declutter. I'm doing my best to change now at 55. Yeah, many of us. So I'm 59. Many of us realize how much we didn't realize before. The way in which we were raised does affect our own lives. Yeah. Okay. So noticing how you got here and noticing, do I want to be like them or do I want to do something different with my life? And I am totally in the I see what you did. I see why you're doing it. I'm going to do something different that's going to be different for me. So, yay for saying, even if I've done it for 55 years, I can change it. That's around the age I really started getting into doing my coaching and stuff. So, perfect timing. Judy says, yes, I've learned I can look and enjoy and walk out without a cart full of stuff. And it feels okay to do that. Yeah. Now, Julie has picked two categories. Two minutes in one. Kitchen tools category, cleaning supplies category. Okay, Julie, we always like to, I was going to say declutter, categorize down even further. So out of those two categories, which one of those two would you like me to help you with? Put it in the comments and we can talk about that. Okay. Melissa, trying to list items on eBay before I get ready to see my father. I opened a bag and the scent took me back to my grandfather's house and it made my eyes fill up with tears. So interesting. Notice how our senses evoke a feeling. That's okay. That's okay. You have a smell of something that reminds you of somebody. Okay. Now I'm going to do this. So yeah, it's okay that your eyes filled up with tears. I assume you loved your grandfather. So this brought him into your heart, right? So Julie, notice your backseat driver isn't answering the question. Your backseat driver is trying to stop you from changing. Okay. I have an abundance in every single category. Overwhelm. But I love it when then you just said, okay, this is your co-pilot speaking. Cleaning supplies. Now, Julie, you may have, and actually I'm going to take a moment right here to literally just start the downloading of the Destination Decluttered TikTok I just started because I want, or we just did, so that it is available so I can upload it here to the Destination Decluttered YouTube channel, which is where we are right now. So this is really good. I think going to be interesting. Let me just do that. Okay, we're good. Because, oops, turn down the volume here. Turn down the volume, turn down the volume, turn on the volume. So Julie, what I would offer is Labs Rocks. We were kind of doing the exact same process with another category on the TikTok Live. And I want to show where it's the same process. If you were there or not, it's the same steps. Okay. Cleaning supplies. So this is the process that I use for pretty much everything, and it pretty much works all the time. You noticed a problem, let's say, in your home. I have mold in my bathtub right here. So I go out to the world where there are things available all the time, and I see a cleaning supply that says, I will help you not have mold in your tub. So you go and you buy that cleaning supply. Hopefully then you actually use it and you experiment with it. Scrub, scrub, scrub. Oh, yay, that worked. It worked and I'm going to keep it. Scrub, scrub, scrub. That didn't work. Usually the stuff that causes the clutter is the stuff that you thought was going to work and didn't. Sound familiar? Okay. Yeah, and I'm happy. I love to repeat myself because what it does is shows people that have showed up before that this process is the same thing over and over again. Seeing the routine and the same process gives you a sense of nervous system safety. So what I say is, you see the mold, you want to fix it, you go buy the mold thing, you use it. If it works, you tend to keep it in your collection of cleaning supplies that work. If it doesn't work, then you have it, okay, but you're not using it. And you're not using it because it doesn't work, but also this right here, this very kind of fork in the road, when you stop and say, wait a minute, traffic cop in the road, because you're used to just keeping the stuff and letting it accumulate, ask yourself, yourself is one of the two voices in your car, either the backseat driver, fear, or the co-pilot, love. When you ask yourself the question, hey, I know that this mold remover doesn't work. I'm not being judgy. I'm just being curious. And sometimes you need to preface this, because some of us, if we feel like we're being judged, we will shut down and not give you an answer. I am not judging. I'm just getting curious. I know it doesn't work, but there's some other thought that is causing me to feel a feeling that then whispers, don't let go of it. So what is a reason that comes up when I say, if I know it doesn't work, why am I still hanging on to it? So Julie, run yourself through that part of the process. Pause what you normally do and maybe not ask yourself that question. Do something different. Ask yourself, and everybody else, I'm not just singling out Julie, everybody else at home can play the home game, the home version of this game. Because every single one of us probably has something that doesn't work the way we hoped it would. And yet there's a bit of a struggle between the two, the front seat and the back seat. Here, let go of it. No, I want to keep it. Here, let go of it. No, I want to keep it. Simmer down now. Okay, it feels wasteful to throw it away. Notice that. And I would also offer, if you were one of my one-on-one clients, this is where I would say part of the process is not just slowing down and quieting down and listening for your answers and all those downs, but is also writing down. And this is where my body is like, pretend like you have a piece of paper that you're folding in half. And on one side of that paper, you're going to write down fear, backseat driver. It feels wasteful to throw it away. So I get that. I do. I grew up in a thrifty household. But I offer to you the waste of money, maybe? Okay, the waste of money. So are you able to return that product to the store you bought it to and get your money back? That may be a way of feeling like it's not wasting, that you're not throwing it away. The other thing too, just in general, is not all the times, but there are often other ways you can let go of something without it going in the trash. Okay. Now, I know many people who follow me, Destination Decluttered, here on YouTube, TikTok, all the places, will offer up that there are many like free, like Facebook groups or local community groups that you can offer up. Hey, I have this thing of spray cleaner and a bunch of cleaners that doesn't work for me. Would anybody else like them? So notice that you may have a thought in your head that stops you that says, if I don't want it, it goes immediately into the trash. That doesn't need to be the case. There are other ways you could do this. Notice, I come from the co-pilot. I'm not fearful of, oh no, it goes into the trash, and then somebody's going to judge me for being wasteful. Also, looking for the next best thing. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with looking for the next best thing if you learned what didn't work for that cleaning. Now, I'm using in my own example here, Jill, I'm using an example of like a mold remover because I recently honestly just bought some for my own tub, and I bought a different, what do you call it? A different brand. Okay. So notice, okay, all of a sudden, I love that idea. Notice the fear has now been replaced by, oh, I love that idea. Notice that different feeling. That's you and your co-pilot collaborating and coming up with a decision that feels better than the idea of throwing it away made you feel. I love to donate. So maybe you gather up all of those cleaning products that you don't want and you offer them to your community for free. That could be a thing. So notice though, when you're going to look for the next best thing, you having used that product and it didn't work out for you, you now know what It didn't do. So you're going to be looking for something that ideally works better than that one is. But what was it that didn't work out about it? You have gained valuable insight. Okay? You have gained valuable insight into what didn't work for you, and your investment of money makes you a better informed consumer the next time you go out to buy a product to solve that problem. How did that stuff work out for me? Yeah, it worked pretty well. Yeah. Julie, notice the shift. You are out of stuck mode. Now the gears are moving, and they're moving in a good direction, in the direction of being decluttered. You know what? I've done it with furniture on Facebook. Why not cleaning stuff? Yeah. Notice that all of a sudden, when you calm down the judgment and the fear, you replace it. It's not just quiet. You allow the love and the curiosity and the problem solving and the ideas. Your brain and your world open up when you get out of fear. And now you're the one who's coming up with ideas that feel good to you. Hey, I know what I can do. And all we did was take some time to quiet down the nervous system, ask a couple of questions, quiet down, shut up the judgment and the fear. But notice what they say, because the opposite of what they say is going to get you going. I feel like it's going to be wasteful. Well, how can I get this thing that isn't working for me out of my home and not feel like it's a waste? Hey, is there a place I can donate it? Yes, there is. I bet there's a free Facebook group. Or I can just put it on a free table outside my house. There are many ways. So notice that process we just used. Now you are out of stop and stuck, and now it is the stop sign has now turned to go, and you're heading in a different direction. You're not continuing to keep those things. Yeah, right. So notice, Labs Rock says, I will have to look into that Facebook free stuff. I have never tried that to get rid of stuff that Salvation Army won't take or can't be returned. I will say this, all of this depends on where you live. But there is more than one road that gets you to destination decluttered. You may be used to that one road between you and the Salvation Army is you may think that's the only road to getting things out is between you and the Salvation Army. But if you stop and you just say, hey, wait a minute, are there other places I could donate that might take things that are open? And you investigate that. You look at your Facebook group. You say, donation places near me, insert your, city and state here. You may not even realize it because you never looked for it, but things exist and they've been there all along, but you haven't been aware of it. So notice what we do. We also calm ourselves down enough to expand what we're looking and being like, oh, there may be more than one place for me to let go of these things instead of just that one place I'm in the habit of thinking of. How does that sound, Labs Rock and Julie? I hope that sounds good. I have found so many different ways. There we go. Labs Rock says, exactly. And now you have a perfect personal example of not knowing something existed and then getting curious and then seeing if it exists, and it does. I Googled local food pantry yesterday, and I found one to donate to. I will offer this. Your local food pantry, perhaps, and I know I'm crossing people's stories here, but I offer to anybody. I have a local food pantry that I donate to, both food and money. And last week, I donated my time. I spent a couple of hours organizing things into like items together. I mean, is that not what I do all the time? It's my happy thing. What I will suggest to you is this. Ask your local food pantry if they also accept cleaning products, even if they've been opened. Because I learned when I was taking in the things that there was a category called cleaning supplies at my local food pantry. Now, it isn't food, but it's stuff that the community could use. So in that instance, my community, um, my local food pantry said, yes, we will take those things. Okay. Yay. Now, Julie, notice how you're feeling right now. This sounds really good. I hope you're feeling good. I'm feeling inspired. Yeah. Thanks so much. Yeah. Also, people were talking about personal care items, toiletries and that like. Labs Rock has noticed that the one near them says the pantry will also take personal care items also. So it cannot hurt to ask for what you want. So, for example, you may think food pantry is only food, and some of them may only be food. But when you go to donate your food, you can ask them, hey, do you accept cleaning supplies? Do you accept toiletries or personal care items? Not a tree made out of toilets. The answer may be no, but the answer may be yes. Okay. Now, I love it, Laura Voorhees, because she is noticing. She's not just checking in with her human body once and done. No, one and done. Dishes done. Yay. But then she's noticing from my crown on down, that's what I like to say when I'm checking my physical body, is tired. I'm going to do a little bit of a rest before heading back into the garden. Yes, your human body probably needs some rest. Okay. So notice this. Notice that throughout the day, your human body may need to feel better. So do the thing that's going to make it feel better, because everything else radiates out from your physical body and your nervous system. Everything can be made more difficult if you're not feeling well physically or mentally. And I say mentally, I mean like nervous system-y, but mentally too. Ergo, on the other hand, the opposite is if I feel better, I'm probably going to do better. I'm going to actually do something. I'm going to feel better about showing up to do something. Now, that being said, I will be confiding in you that my crown on down, right? So, is saying I got to pee at certain points. Now, I'm not going to pee right now, nor am I going to bring you into the bathroom with me. That would be a little bit too TMI. But I know myself that I can be distracted by how my body feels, so that I have to spend extra energy and time focusing on something else other than my body. And at a certain point in about 25 minutes or so, when this YouTube live is almost over, then I'm going to be counting down the minutes, and I may even stop about 5 minutes early, just letting you know, so that I can go to the bathroom. So, Labs Rock says, is this where we come for the declutter parties? I did sign up a few weeks ago with my email also. Okay, so Labs Rock, I love that you signed up for your email. So now you're part of the group. So no, this is not where we do the parties, because if you kind of notice, you were able to show up here, and this is open to the public. Anybody walking by this like auditorium where we're hanging out, the doors are open to any old. Okay. Where you show up for the parties is this. Anybody who is part of the group, the Destination Decluttered group, you got into that group by giving me your email. So your email address was sent an email from me, Beth Destination Decluttered, with a link to what I like to call the secret page. Okay, the members page, the speakeasy page. When you click onto that page, and I'm going to go to it right now just to make sure I know what I'm talking about. It says scroll down for TikTok, YouTube Lives, TV Guide. What it's going to show is your November declutter parties, dates, and times. When it shows that and you say, oh, I could make one of those, like tomorrow, Saturday, November 15th, we've got one at noontime till 1:30 Eastern. Then we've got one Sunday, Monday, Friday, and Monday. So there's another 4. If you're interested and you can make one of those, or you just want to learn more about it, there's a big old orange button that says, what is a declutter party? Info and get your ticks here. Actually, I spent your wrong. I got to change that. It says Ute. Get Ute ticks here. You click that, you find out more what the party is, you scroll it down, and then you can buy your tickets for tomorrow or any of the ones that come up. The reason I do that is I don't like trolls. I know that one of the things that helps you kind of show up and get something done is if you feel like the environment is safe, that you can let your guard down, that you can share maybe what you're struggling with, or just know that you are surrounded by trustworthy people, not some rando who's going to I don't know, be a pain in the ass. So, where we show up to do the declutter parties is on Zoom. And the only people who get the Zoom link for that party are the people who paid for the ticket. Does that help? So, that's the process. And it's a closed Zoom for only the people who showed up for that party. So, it's a safe environment. Okay. Yeah. And Labs Rock, this is a great thing. I will share with you one of the things I love about the way I do it, frankly, is I am also helping you get better at technology. I am helping you practice to go check that email and to go link a thing and buy a ticket and show up on a Zoom and unmute and mute and put on your camera and off. All of that stuff builds your skill set. Yeah. Yeah. So yay, Laura Voorhees, for taking a break. Digging out the hostas is heavy digging work. Yes, I know. We've got some hostas I need to rehome myself, but I'm not going to do it. Frankly, I'm going to get somebody else to do that. Hello, husband. If not him, then I'm going to pay somebody because I don't want to do it. Now, and I love it. So Wendy says it's a safe space to find support and community. Yeah. I am very protective of my people. Okay. Now, LO is saying basement is 88% done. What a particular percentage. And I'm only bringing back what truly matters. I'm listening, drinking coffee, and reviewing my almost done new space. That sounds freaking awesome. That sounds freaking awesome. Yay. And congratulations. Now, Labs Rocks says, thank you, everyone. I'm going to try to make another dent in my pantry today. Before you leave, and even if you don't, this concept may help somebody who, even if you've already left the room, but if haven't left yet, let's really pay attention to the words we use. Okay? Because notice, I'll try to make another dent. That gives you a little bit of wiggle room for not doing it. Notice if you eliminate the try and then you sound like Yoda and you just do. I will make another dent in my pantry today. And I would say this, no matter how small, even if it is one can of soup, that's one can of soup I don't need, and that one can of soup could be a meal for somebody. So really, you guys, the words we use have so much more power over us than you ever may realize. I didn't learn this until the last 5 years, but man, oh Manischewitz, do I pay attention really right now to every little stitch of the words that I think, the words that I write down, and the words that kind of end up escaping my voice. And if you've seen any of my TikTok videos or my YouTube videos, because right now you're on the Destination Decluttered YouTube channel, you're at the epicenter of the wealth of resources available to you for free for decluttering. So those of you who are saying, I can't afford a one-on-one declutter coach, here's the library. You can do a lot of this yourself. You will hear me correcting and improving what I say out loud quite often. I'll say, wait, no, let me use a better word. Hey, don't let me use this word. I'm going to choose a different word because different words cause different feelings. Okay? Yeah. Hey, Heather says, last time we talked, my dresser was messy. You had a messy Bessie dresser? I got it just about cleared off. Awesome. Rock on. Yeah. Labs Rock is saying, it makes sense. The only time that anything that makes sense really will change your life is when you allow it to trickle down, to feel like you can do something with that info, and then you use that info to do something with. But yay, it get good start for making it make sense. Oh, and really quickly, only because when I took that sip, I glanced over here to that page for the declutter parties, and we were just talking about food pantries and community things like that. Every single dollar that is raised through the tickets for the declutter parties that I do is I directly donate 100% of that money to my local food bank community place. Okay. So remember, if you're like, I could do that on my own, why would I spend money? It's a way of you helping yourself and helping others. So that's one of the reasons, two of the reasons I charge for a declutter party. One is I know people show up differently when they have kind of skin in the game, which kind of a nasty thing. But when you pay, if money wasn't a problem, you'd be throwing away the stuff that you spent money on. But you do show up differently for something that you spent money on, and it helps you show up in a different energy of I'm going to make this time worthwhile. If a class is free, you may kind of phone it in. But if you paid for it, you're more likely to want to get something out of it. And also to break that habit of I can only help myself or I can help other people. That's where I like to play either like a rainbow between those two either ors. And as I like to call it, conjunction junction. I can help myself and at the same time help somebody else. All righty. Now, Wendy says, cleaning out my pantry helped me compile lists for meal plans. Like, holy cow, I forgot I had that. I need to make what I bought that for. Yes, and it ends up being productive making plans. Right. One of the things about decluttering isn't just getting rid of what you don't want, but it's realizing and remembering and reminding yourself of the abundance you have. Oh, that's right. I was going to make chili. I forgot I even had that can of beans. Oh, that's right. I wanted to use some panko things to encrust something in panko. Let me write down and make a plan to make that before it goes bad. Using what you have is the opposite of being wasteful. So it also gets you in that abundance mindset, as they say in the life coaching biz, out of lack and I need to get something into abundance and I have more than enough. Not just I have enough. If you have clutter, you have more than enough because clutter is the category between feeling just right and too much and overwhelm. Yeah. Now, Jill says, yes, the pantry cleaning, easier to get rid of expired things. Of course, because you don't want to get sick. It's expired. You don't want to make other people sick. But I bet you would feel better to decrease the amount of things that you bought with the intention of using it. Notice how we're going back to that theory of personal care products and you bring them in, or cleaning products or you bring them in, or food that you bring in to use them. Practicing using what you have brought into your home in a decent amount of time. What is a decent amount of time? Depends on you. But what I would say for certain food items is before it expires. If you have the choice of feeling wasteful and throwing food away that was good and it's only wasteful because you didn't use it, and feeling good about shopping from your pantry before you go to the grocery store, which one of those people do you want to be? You know? Yeah, Wendy is noticing, gosh, my first go round with the pantry, and notice it's kind of an initial wave and it's a circle, 4 garbage bags of expired stuff. I was sick. How about I felt sick thinking of the wasted money? Notice that connection of what she just said. The thought of wasting the money caused me the feeling of feeling sick. I bet, Wendy, you will do differently now. Hopefully you learned, because this is one of the things we like to do. We like to realize what made us feel that way so we don't do it again. Yeah. So learn from what made you feel awful. I bought more food than I could eat before the expiration date. So, therefore, the next time I go out to the store, well, first of all, the next time I think of going out to the store, Before I go there, I will do something different. I will look in my cupboard and say, what can I eat from what I have here? And if I need an ingredient to make that kind of more well-rounded, I'll go out and buy that. But I'm going to practice shopping from my own shelves. Yeah. Notice Jill is learning warehouse shopping is a big culprit, right? That they sell it in a larger quantity than I need before it goes bad. I do that all over the place because it's just my husband and me. And I went to Costco with my mother and I was so psyched because I said, Mom, can you buy some stuff for me? And she said, yeah, of course. And one of the things, one of the things she bought us, which was what I picked out, which was 2 things of like the extra powered Dawn dishwashing liquid. We don't use it as much and it evaporated and it turned into a gel and it couldn't even come out the pump anymore. You know? Yeah. And notice, we may feel weird, like everybody's going to Costco. It feels weird not to go to Costco, but man, do I need that quantity? The answer is no. So notice, it's okay to not shop at a warehouse store. Or you shop at a warehouse store and you share your abundance with people. Hey, I'm going to Costco and they're going to give me 14 cans of this tuna fish, but I only want to try one. Does anybody else want some of this? I can dole it out to you as opposed to me just being the person who eats it. Okay. Yeah. Notice how you got there and do something different the next time. Right. Yeah. Wendy is telling herself, I am a work in progress. We all are. By not overbuying. There's buying, there's not buying, there's buying the right amount, and then there's overbuying. Overbuying caused an abundance of expired products on my shelves. So I'm going to slow down the rate with which I bring things into the house. And also, notice this other thought. Just because it's on sale doesn't make it a deal if I'm not using it. Collecting dust and expiring is just a waste of money. You totally did waste money because even if it was on sale, even that small amount of money you spent on it went into the trash. So everybody here, this is what I recommend, okay, is when you're going through, obviously you're taking the expired products and those go in the trash. The next time you go in, start to your pantries or whatever you want to call it, look for the things that you have multiples of and look for the things that expire within the next 2 months. Actually, at this point, you can see anything that expires in 2025. I would pull that to the front. Rotate for freshness, anyone? Did anybody actually work retail or is it just me? Yeah. So notice that anything that is expiring in 2025, pull it to the front and ask yourself, can I see myself eating this between now and New Year's? That's only like 6 weeks away. If the answer is no, then I highly recommend that those are the items that you then put in a bag and this week donate to your food pantry. Somebody at a food pantry is going to be so psyched to get that thing and they will definitely be eating it before New Year's. Okay? So notice this. You can do these things. Yep. No more Sam's Club. I still go to Costco, but I'm much more cognizant of what I buy and I don't buy. Yep. Yeah. And please, I feel so much better, says Labs Rock. One of the main reasons I show up to do these free TikTok lives and the free YouTube lives is because this is why the doors are open. This is why these are public. Because I want people that are afraid that they're the only ones that are struggling with this and they're ashamed and embarrassed. I want you to know you're not alone. Oh my goodness. And this is a mere fraction of the people in our country, let's say, that struggle with this, that don't even know that there's help around. But doesn't it feel better to know that instead of fear and alone, that you're like, hey, I feel better. I'm not alone. Yeah. Now notice you can change your habits. Lori says, I used to run to Kohl's every coupon, especially at 40% off. Yeah. Now I maybe don't do it anymore. Yeah. There we go. Yay. Now I love this. People are noticing and exchanging ideas. This is what I do. This is what helps me. This community is one of the things I love because it's not just me talking from the top down. It's people collaborating and sharing stories and swapping ideas. I don't have all the answers. I have answers from my perspective, but other people chiming in with what they've done from their perspective equally as helpful. Okay? Equally as helpful. Yeah. Yay. Labs Rock says, Wendy, this is the best thing I have listened to. I am feeling so much better. And what I will share with you, everybody, this feeling so much better, helping you feel better by saying, I can do something different about what bugs me. That is what keeps me showing up for declutter parties, for YouTube, for my one-on-one coaching, for the TikTok lives, all that. Okay. Now that being said, I love all this. I love it. Heather says, I no longer have a deep freezer. Notice when you have the ability to store a lot of things, what's that phrase? More money, more problems, but more space, more opportunity to inadvertently buy more than you need or want or can use. Okay. So I would say this also highlight some of those expiration dates. Use the expiration date things first, that type of thing. But one of the things I'm going to do right now is I'm going to wind down this YouTube live. Okay. So as I do that, notice I'm giving you a heads up that we're going to slow down and I'm going to turn this off momentarily. One, because as I mentioned earlier, I got to go pee. But the other thing too, is I realized as I was talking to you right now, is that on that secret page that I talked about, it only shows the TikTok lives. Well, it does go through Sunday, but we do have TikTok lives and YouTube lives and declutter parties scheduled for next week and I think the week after too. So before I leave to do my other stuff today, I want to make sure that I let you know when you can show up again for one of these lives so that it's on the page. Okay. So notice that calming down your nervous system opens you up to all of the help and abundance that is available to you to change what you used to think was not changeable, that you might have been afraid that you were alone with, that you were afraid. Okay. Yay. Labs Rock got some really good inspiration and ideas here today. Awesome. I'm glad I helped. And now it feels like I'm going to wind this down. And I want to just give a plug. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. TikTok Live, 12 p.m. Declutter Party, because between those two, I'm going to yoga. All right. So sign up for a declutter party if you want some help and support. Show up for a TikTok Live or YouTube Live if you just want things to be out in the open. And I hope all of y'all have a good Friday. There we go. I'm going to sign off myself. I'm going to have a good Friday. I'm going to have a good Friday night, a Friday all the time. Okay. And I'll see you guys maybe tomorrow at a declutter party.